But see, so do we want to establish ourselves here in the objective world or in the subjective world? You look at all those books. That in one sense is representation of the subjective world. By nature, we want to live in the subjective plane. What is this place about? It's showing images, sounds, and things that are supposed to like transport you into. You leave the objective world for a while and you live in a subjective plane. Why do we do that? Why do human beings do that? Right? Because we are subjective beings. We're spiritually conscious beings. We can't, it doesn't matter how you rearrange matter or the material world. We'll never be able to sustain our existence here. Even scientifically speaking, it's got a number on it. Right, like, 10 years to the 12th power or 15th, you know, they can argue, well, I think it's to the 18th. What the one point they're all in agreement on is that this world will vanish. No more Brazil, no more New York, India, any of these things. Then will anything remain? We're betting that the soul is eternal, that consciousness will still exist. We're hedging our bets with that.
But how do you change the objective world living in?
Don't try to. That's the point. It's a waste of time to direct your energy here. You know the poet Shelley? Yeah, he wrote a famous poem called Ozymandias, right, about Ramses 1, 2, or 3. Take your pick. And in that he says, I'm paraphrasing, he says, I met this, a traveler in an ancient land. And he told him about something extraordinary he saw. What was that? He said, out in this vast desert area, there was this broken statue. And he said, from the trunk, broken at the waist, and then there was an inscription. The head was lying half buried under the sand. And he said, whoever the sculptor was, he really captured this man who, he said, you could still see this sneer, this arrogant look on his face, and the stone half buried in the sand. And the inscription said, you know, I am Ozymandias. Look upon my kingdom and despair, you know, you little people. And he said, but when you look, all you see in all directions is just desert sand, nothing, no kingdom. So his point was, however you try to establish yourself in the objective world, like, does anyone know who Ozymandias is? This guy once king of the world, had everything going his way, the whole objective world at his feet. Now no one even knows who he is. He's irrelevant, insignificant. This world is of that nature. Right? So then what are we to get from it? While we're here, we have a limited amount of time. That's what we're told. Human life is that opportunity for liberation. See, animals, instinct, they're how do you say, dealing with demerit, right? And the subjective evolution of consciousness of the soul. When the soul is in the lower species, it's living out karmic demerit. What about gods and goddesses? They're saying, well, then you're enjoying enjoying energy. Right? So that's a distraction. Either way, what's the optimal position for spiritual realization? Human life. We're in the best position, and we have a small window of opportunity to realize what's before us. And we get the wealth that's being gathered is coming in connection with the saint who's like a living scripture. They're revealed truth, but then saints are the agents of revealed truth. They're making these things relevant. So like a lawyer sits in front of a bunch of law books. One page in there is relevant to your case. That's why you need that person. The saints are like that. There are so many things to be considered. There's one page in particular that's very relevant to your position. That's why you approach the saint for that type of adjustment.
You said that India is an ideational society.
No, I said that Sorokin, the so-called father of sociology, he said that. I'm just using him.
You don't believe?
I do, but I would have to explain it with greater depth. It was, you know, it's a simplistic way of
Okay.
Now you're finding how much I don't like him. No, I like him very much.
India is considered an emergent economy. Is India changing?
No, that's India. Yeah, well, India, you know, religion comes from India, is what I meant to say. Just religion itself, of all time, really, it comes from there. The God concept. This is their gift. And it's there in spades, it's in the people's genetic material. So you'll find out when as they advance materially, give you one example where they behave in unpredictable ways. You know, cloning, stem cell research and all this. Like, it's a big moral issue in Judeo-Christian based countries, right? It's not an issue for Indian doctors. Why? They said, we've got this in Mahabharata, you know, like, it's just part of their, they don't have a problem with it. Because it's in Vedic scriptures. These kind of things are described there already. So they can get their heads around it. Whereas the Judeo-Christian side, it's this whole moral about when the soul and not, and can you do this? They're not having that problem. So that means they're poised to make a lot of progress, you know, on the objective side. So we'll see. You know, now the Olympics are in China. We see China when they got away from trying to change the world through, you know, communism, and then they realized, you know, as Dylan said, money doesn't talk, it swears. So they got into the money program. They're pretty focused now. Now India's doing that, but what are we? We're just back. It's the world of exploitation. So we're trying, just to conclude, so we're saying, in the midst of, you know, mundane affluence, fine, but learn to be a dedicating unit. That's the cure for these things, is learn to dedicate, and dedicate towards the center. The center means God, let's spell it out, Krishna, God, the supreme central absolute truth. When you dedicate towards the center, everything else is nourished. You want to water these? Pour water here. Pour water. You can turn the camera to that. Pour water on the roots, and they'll all get nourishment. Don't try and like, oh, this one needs some, that one, but wait, there's one over here. Oh, there's this cause, oh, that cause. There's so many things competing for your attention. You want to deal with everything? Pour water on the root. It's all taken care of. Pour water on the root means dedicate yourself to the absolute center, Krishna, God, and then you can escape the negative reaction of the world of exploitation. Thank you.
Thank you.